All right, here we are on video number 4. Okay, so now you've come up with your client, you know who you're working for. You've come up with your site. So you have your parameters, your priorities, and you have your overlapping functions. All right, you've got a lot of information already. Now it's time to start creating a plan and a way of putting this on paper. So the first thing you need to do, because this is a real project, is you go to the site that you've chosen, and the very first thing a landscaper does is take out their compass. This is my compass. It's very simple, very low-tech, and very powerful tool. And why do I need a compass? Because I'm going to find north. On every landscape plan, the first thing you look for is the north arrow. This, I don't know if you can see it, my north arrow. And I have it placed on the ground in the direction of north. And the reason I do that is all plants grow in relationship to the sun. So in winter, the sun is very low on the horizon and creates a very low shadow. In the summer, it goes overhead like this and creates a different path with a different shadow. You want to make sure that you don't put very tall things, structures or trees, on the south side of your garden where it will shade it and prevent your plants from growing. You may want to put it on the south side of a house in the summer to protect it from the great heat. So you need to know where your north arrow is, and you put it on your paper. There are ways of measuring. You can use a GPS, you can use a surveyor's tool, but for a simple project, I use these tools. 25-foot measure and 100-foot measure, depending on the size of the garden. And nothing more fancy than a pencil and paper. And I go out onto the site, I take my tools, I measure, and I use an engineering rule to put the job on the paper to scale. And you choose the scale you want, your 1/8 inch, your 1/4 inch, your 1/10 inch scale. If it's anything more complicated with a lot of elevations, then I usually call in a surveyor and get a contour map. The other thing that we want to talk about, now that you know how to put your plans on paper, is just what you can envision and what you can take from a dream to a real project. And I want to show you a couple of simple things that I came up with for some clients. One client wanted a fence, a wire fence, so that it wouldn't shade the garden, but she wanted it beautiful. We talked about her love of the sun and that kind of thing, and I ended up on a CAD program with this picture. And it's just the sun and the sun rays. It went from that to a sketch of what the fence could look like, and then it went to this, which is the final fence. Another little project that we came up with was for a client that had 3 young children and a steep hill. And in taking the challenge of the hill, as how are the kids going to get from the bottom to the top, I said, why not a climbing structure? And why not a beautiful climbing structure? And so we created a dream catcher climbing area. I went online, I got the dream catcher, then I enlarged that to look at how we were going to tie the knot of the rope, created a sketch, and here's a picture of the sketch. And here is the sketch to the actual dream catcher on the hillside. And the kids love going up there. The last little imagination thing that I did was with a client who didn't have any land to plant on, but she had a lot of walls, and so I suggested that we do a hanging planter. And the hanging planter is a welded metal sculpture. It's in the shape of a nautilus. This is the picture of the nautilus. In this particular case, the hanging sculpture is planted with succulents, but in fact it could be planted with herbs, with strawberries, with lettuce, with spinach. There's many kinds of edible plants that would go very well in a hanging sculpture. So you've got the beauty, the food, and the use of very small, limited area. Just a few imaginations coming to fruition.